friends, Queen Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 2 of our mushroom Derwent Chromaflow tutorial series. So this should be the last part of this, and originally it was intended to be a single video, and I ran longer than I wanted with part 1, so I broke it into 2. And we are working in Kerby Rosanes Colormorphia for this one. If you have not seen the first one, let me get to our image first. I forgot to put my little sticky note in there. We worked on this mushroom, and I did this as more of like a traditional kind of color scheme. And today we are going to move over to this mushroom, and we're going to do something a little bit funky, a little bit more stylized. I am working with the Derwent Chromaflow pencils, same as I was in the first video. If you have not heard, they are coming out with a 100 and a 150 color set, so I brought these out thinking it would be nice and fun to get reacquainted with them, and if there is anyone that was on the fence, has never used them before, do a couple of tutorials throughout the month using them so you guys can kind of see how they work. And if you have not seen part 1 of this, I'll pop a tab up in the corner to the first one. So let's go ahead and get started here, and let me get us down a little closer. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do with this guy is I'm going to go over we're going to start on the bottom on this one, on the stem here. And I'm going to start with 0020 Parmesan, which is as close to cream as we get in this set. And I'm going to give the stem a base of this Parmesan color. This just tends to be how I work, is to I tend to use all of my pencils as layering pencils, but I find that it works pretty well with these pencils. They're soft yet firm. I would put them, comparing to other Derwent pencils, somewhere in between the Pro Color and the Lightfast. They hold a point really well, they blend really well, you can get a nice amount of layers with them, but they are a little on the firm side for a wax based colored pencil, and they're also a bit thinner than the other pencils in the Derwent line. I don't have the diameter off the top of my head, so. And we're going to carry the Parmesan up underneath the cap. So I'm just trying to see here. I think, okay, so these little drippy things right here they look like they're coming off of this mushroom, but they are on this back mushroom. And so this is not a full page color along. We're just doing the 2 mushrooms on this one. So now I am going to take 0110 Sunflower, and let's see, so my light is coming from, in my mind, this is where so my light is coming from this direction, so I want this side to be a little lighter. So I'm just using light pressure and kind of mapping out where I want this, and we will go back in and darken this up. But if I go in too heavy, it makes it really difficult to erase back if I find that I don't like what I've done. But since this is more stylized, we can kind of take some creative liberties. So really, we wouldn't have light up underneath, too much light up underneath here. But I am working off of a bit of a reference photo just to give me kind of a guide here. So I am going to bring some of this golden yellow up underneath the cap here. And then the next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to come in with 21. This is natural brown. And I'm going to use this as kind of my shadow color. So I'm going to come along the back of our mushroom here. And I'm kind of ignoring these like shapes. And just treating this as like one kind of solid object. And we will bring this out here. So it would be a little darker down here. So this is more stylized, I guess, in terms of the colors that I'm using. I'm going to hold off on doing underneath the cap for now. Okay, so next I am going to use, this is 2110 Morning Mist. This is a kind of a yellow gray. It's a really light color, so I'm not exactly sure if it will render on camera, but I'm kind of using this to merge the yellow and the brown. And as we start layering more, it'll pull these pieces together. So it's really just kind of a lot of back and forth. And again, this is how I do it, but you should take my tutorial and use it to make the image your own and build off of it. It does not need to look exactly like mine. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and start working on darkening some of these areas up. So we're back with Sunflower, the 0110. And I'm going to start pulling some of the yellow into the brown and the gray. And I am going to leave this kind of like circular area right here a little lighter as a little bit of a highlight. And then down here, the same thing. And now I'm going to go back in with the natural brown. And at this point, I'm starting to press a little harder just to get more pigment from my pencil. And again, I want my edge a little darker. And so I kind of want, you know, a little bit of variation here. I don't want it to look like just one solid block of color. So I'm kind of adjusting my my hand pressure as I come out towards the yellow. And I do want to bring some of these colors like into each other. So I'm going to come up behind this little guy's ear just a little bit with the brown. And these pencils do work a little bit better when they're freshly sharpened. They hold a point really well, so they're good for detail, but soft enough to get nice blends with. Okay. I'm going to come back in with just a little bit of the 2110 The Morning Mist as kind of my blender color here. And back in with the Golden Sun, adding more layers. And again, I'm keeping this area right here open. And now with the Parmesan, and that's in this area that I left as like a highlight to just kind of soften some of these edges. And the brown area definitely needs some work, but we'll come back to that at the end. So we're going to go ahead and start on the underside of the cap up here. Now I'm going to bring in some of this 0400 flame, which we used over here on the other mushroom. And so I'm just going to pick a few spots up under here that I want to add this orange color, the flame. And now I'm going to go in with the 21 natural brown again. And we're going to fill in around the yellow and the orange. Sort of underneath these little drippy areas. And we can always come back and adjust as we get through the rest of this and see how we feel. So this is all just kind of, you know, preliminary at this point. I'm going to come in with the Parmesan and just smooth some of this out. I think we need a little more up underneath here. So this is the sunflower. And a little bit more of the natural brown. Okay, so now we're going to get into the top part of the mushroom, the cap. So this is where it's going to get a little funky and it's going to look a little weird. And hopefully this comes out in the end. So I'm going to lay down a light base. This is Pink Heather 0930. So I'm going to lay down a light base of the Pink Heather on the mushroom cap. Just over the whole thing. And again, you want to keep your hand pressure light. So that if we don't like it, we can erase it back. And I'm actually going to change course. So I was going to use lilac, but looking at the tone, I'm going to go with 1100 violet. And I'm going to start blocking in some areas with the violet. So I'm not going to go over the whole thing with the violet at this point. This is just kind of where I think I might want it. And so it is going to be darker on this side, and we are going to bring in some other colors, but I went with a pretty bold choice on this one in terms of, you know, my reference photo and my color. So I am hoping that we can pull this together, because right now the top of this mushroom and the underside are a little scary. But, you know, that's sometimes those bold choices that freak you out a little bit early in the process end up being the things that sometimes we end up liking the most. Yes, that's one of the, you know, the things that I, as a personal and say that I learned something from it, whether it be how to improve on a technique or, oh, those colors don't go, then I think that's what's... So I am going to leave this area right here alone for the time being, and make that kind of a bit of a highlight. So these are the kind of like underside of this, so I am gonna go ahead and just make these a little darker. And I know it's probably hard to see on camera, but like these little pieces at the end, I just use the paper as like a little highlight, but you could always go in with a gel pen or a, you know, a paint pen or something like that if you wanted to add back some highlight down there. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with 0810 Hot Pink. And I'm going to come down the edge there and up onto the top and bring that into the purple a little bit. I can honestly say this is probably one of the most adventurous color palettes that I have that I have attempted. It is different, that's for sure. I'm gonna bring this down the side here. And then we'll kind of press a little harder and darken it up around the back. Okay, I'm going to come in with the Pink Heather 0930 again. And kind of use this to bridge the gap between the purple and the pink. Smooth out some edges. And add in some highlight. Especially along this backside here. But we don't want to completely like undo our other colors. So I am being mindful of where I darken. because I don't want to overpower my pink. So this is where I would typically start kind of, I won't say rapid swapping between pencils, but at this point it just becomes a matter of feel in terms of what I think needs to go where. So this is the pink heather. And usually at this point, I will start focusing on tightening up smaller areas at a time. And then back to the violet. So like in these little like knots and whatnot down here, I'm going to start out darker in the little crevices and then lighten up my hand pressure as I kind of come up into the cap of the mushroom. And then I'm using my lighter color. This is the pink heather to smooth some of that out. So I think what I might do is attempt to bring some of this pink to the underside of the cap here, just to give it a little bit more cohesiveness. Because right now there is not, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of cohesiveness between the top of the mushroom and the bottom. Now I did say we were gonna get funky, but not crazy. But these pencils layer really nicely. So that helps. So really, we're just gonna keep going at it until we get to a point where we're satisfied with man, that is an interesting color scheme. I don't hate it, but it's different. But you know what? This is nice because it is definitely not, it is not a tri-blend of light, medium, and dark, at least in the same in the same color family. I would definitely advise, if you want to tackle a color scheme like this, where you're not working in like a traditional triad of colors, you know, like if you're working with oranges and you've got a light, medium, and a dark. Definitely test your blends before you commit to applying them to your page, and make sure that they're not going to just, you know, create brown. So, again, because these pencils layer really well, it helps to be able to go in and pull your colors into each other as you start smoothing them out. Like right here, I felt like this edge between the pink and the purple was a little sharp. So I'm able to kind of go back in and add more layers on top to kind of feather some of those out. And just make it look a little more seamless. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now I've also got Midnight Purple out here, and I am going to just go in with the Midnight Purple and along some of the lines, I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. And just, you know, on some of the little, like the very little like edges down here. Okay. So I will probably do some more off camera, you know, some more blending. I have discovered that the Derwent burnisher, which I use with my polychromos, this is the burnisher, not the blender. I actually really like this pencil with, or this burnisher blender with these pencils, as well as, you know, the polychromos. So I've been kind of favoring this. So I'm not gonna go too extensively into the blending on camera, but I am going to try and finish up. Let me just see if maybe a little bit of the pink underneath here kind of brings us a little more cohesiveness here. Yeah, not as much as I would like, but it is definitely interesting. Let me... just pondering here. Let's try using the Midnight Purple as maybe a bit of a shadow color. And we'll just bring a little bit of that down underneath here. Okay, that actually makes me feel a little bit better. Okay. All right. We're getting there. Yes. 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 Just kind of glaze this over the orange just a little bit. Just a little more up here, and then I think we should be done with our funky mushroom. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. Let me get this back in focus so we can see what we're looking at. Let me zoom us out just a little. Yeah, so that actually turned out pretty cool. I'm way more satisfied with it than I was when it was during its ugly phase, but I really think that coming in with this Midnight Purple, the 110 that we used a little bit up here, and bringing that down into the shadow definitely tied them together. It's not perfectly blended. I would definitely go in and do more work on this off camera, but this is more about just, you know, showing you guys something a little different, giving you the combos, and hopefully this gives you, you know, a little bit more confidence to be a little bold with your color choices and experiment a little bit more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a playlist on the channel for plants and animals. That's kind of our focus for the month. So the other mushroom over here is it's currently just going to be these two for right now until I add more videos. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider a like, a sub. It helps YouTube's algorithm pick my videos up so more people see it. And I know we ran a little long today, but I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.